There's a small change I want to make to this sentence I already put together. And when it was evening and the day was now far spent. I combined Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Matthew, it was evening. Mark, and the day was now far spent. And just the part and the day from Luke. I want to change that because later on in Mark, this same day, after he feeds the 5,000, it says, verse 47, and when evening was come, the ship was in the midst of the sea, and he alone on the land, and then he walked on the water to get to them. But it says, and when evening was come. So I don't want to put evening for now, because that would say that it's the same time of day, almost, evening. I could put Mark only, just saying when the day was now far spent, and that might be the best because Mark has that first and then evening, but I think it's even better if I use the wording from Luke, when the day began to wear away. This might be early evening, late afternoon, but if I say far spent, that makes it seem like it's late at night, like late evening, which seems even later than just saying evening, which is later on that same day in Mark 6. So I'm going to change to what it says in Luke, and when the day, I'll keep the day from Mark, but I'll take out the and. Actually, no, I'll put the and from Mark 2 also here. So this is gray. And when the day began to wear away, then his disciples. Yeah, so I like how that sounds even better now. It's less repetitive. So after began to wear away, I have to put this question. Jesus lifted up his eyes. It starts with when Jesus lifted up his eyes. Well, I could put this when earlier so that it would be from all four. And when the day began to wear away, then just go right into Jesus lifted up his eyes. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'll change this when to all four. Then just move right into Jesus lifted up his eyes. And saw. So, since the response, this is a desert place, happens after Jesus asked the question, maybe I should say his disciples said. Mark has his disciples came to him and said, which means came to him would have to be moved. Then came the 12 and said to him. Yeah, so this came to him. I can't say Jesus went up into a mountain and there he sat with his 12 disciples who came to him. I don't have a who. I can't say they, because there's no they, came to him. I can't say there he sat with them. Yeah, there's no them. I just don't know where to put came to him. Actually, John has Jesus lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come to him. Maybe I could have the came to him be here. Saw a great company. If I have a the, saw the great company, that would work. When it was evening, his disciples came to him saying this. Nope. His disciples came to him and said, nope. The 12. Look at that. I already used 12. I didn't use the. So maybe I can say, when Jesus lifted up his eyes and saw the great company. Yeah, because it's not a great company. He already knows about the great company. So he's saying the company come to him. I think that's what I'll do. Still, there's no who, so I can't say the great company who came to him. If I have a that, I could say the great company that came to him. Maybe I'll just have to leave it as come and just get rid of came. Came to him, or spent. Luke. Then came the 12. Yeah, I'm just going to have to leave it as the great company come to him. The only reason I'm doing this is because in John, it's the first mention of the multitude. But because we already know he spent time with the multitude already in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it would make more sense to have he saw the multitude. Only in John, when it doesn't have him healing and preaching to them, does it make sense to say a great company. So because the others are here, I think it fits fine to put the great company. Come to him. I'm going to have to him. And this is already Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So this to him will now be without highlighted color. It's all 4. And again, I can't put came in here. I tried to think of that. The company who came, the company that came, but there's no that or who. There's no which. So I'm just going to leave it as come to him. He says to Philip, where shall we buy bread that these may eat? And this he said to prove him. Whoa, that's a typo. In John 6:6, it here says, and this he, capital H, said to prove him, also capital H. I don't think that's right. He, Jesus, did say this to prove him, lowercase h, because it's speaking about Philip. For he, capital H, himself, also capital H, meaning Jesus, knew what he, Jesus, would do. And I'm also going to get rid of saying and put from Mark. His disciples, I think it's also in Luke, the word said. Yep. And said. Then his disciples said from Mark and Luke. Mark has came to him. I already used to him, so I'm not going to say that. Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come to him. He says to Philip, you know what? I need to have, and he says to Philip. That's what I need to have. I could use Mark. Mark's and here, and he says to Philip. Now the reason why I have to add this and, even though it's not there in John, is because in John it just says, when Jesus lifted up his eyes and saw a great company to him, he says to Philip. So the only thing in between when and he says is Jesus lifted up his eyes and saw a great company. But now there's a new thing added in there. the day began to wear away. Now that adds just enough to make it seem as if the point of the sentence is Jesus then lifted up his eyes. Whereas that's the first sentence here in John. When Jesus lifted up his eyes, what happened? It adds, and he saw a great company. Still, what happened? He says to Philip. But here it's, and when the day began to wear away, what happened? Jesus lifted up his eyes. It changes the point, the subject, to Jesus lifting up his eyes. Instead of reserving it for, he says. And Jesus went up into a mountain, and there he sat with his 12 disciples. And when the day began to wear away, Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw the great company come to him. And he says to Philip, where shall we buy? Yeah, that works. So now it does make the point of this sentence, Jesus lifting up his eyes, and kind of adding at the end, he says to Philip. It's kind of changing the subject around, but it still works. It's not changing the meaning, so I think it's fine.